Since its launch in 2005, Broad Street Review has sought to promote the exchange of viewpoints rather than any particular point of view. To that end, we welcome commentary from professionals and amateurs alike about the performing and visual arts, as well as any other field of interest to our eclectic group of contributors. The following interview was submitted to Broad Street Review, powered by Rep Radio. Now you're just following people.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, look at you being all important, because I can't even friend you. I can only follow you now.
I try to delete like 5 people a week if I can remember.
I know you have to go through and you're like, if we.
I do it from the memories. I scroll through the memories and like, all right, who are these people? And that,
It's a good problem to have. It's a good problem. You got to move it over to it's got to be a fan page.
I have one of those too,
now.
so it's just getting rolling.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and a group page. I got 3 pages.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm your host, Darnell Radford, and today we are at the Hamilton Family Arts Center.
Yes, we are.
And it is the second Arden building. It's huge and beautiful, and every time I come in here, there's a room I haven't been in yet, so this is really cool. And I'm here with Kash Goins of GoKash Productions.
GoKash OnSTAGE now.
GoKash OnSTAGE now. Yeah, I know. I went to GoKash Productions like a flash mob or something. Yeah. I was like, somebody stole that website.
That's exactly what happened.
I'm going to have to beat them down or wait for So, GoKash OnSTAGE is a resident at Arden Theatre Company this year.
Something brand new.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so congratulations for that. And I had talked before I hit record that I've been aware of you for a while, and I've been aware of so many artists in the community, and it's good to know that they're still doing it, that the hustle is still strong.
Absolutely.
But when I do get my chance to sit down and chat, it's always a pleasure. So thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
Much appreciation, my friend.
All right, so because you're new to Rep Radio, welcome. Tell us about Kash Goins.
Kash Goins. Where do I start? This is always the most awkward thing in the world for me, by the way.
Start when you were born. Go back there. Just work your way.
Born to a sharecropper. No. I'm from South Philly, Point Breeze and Moore.
Okay, so am I.
Yeah.
Well, not from South.
Oh, okay.
From Point Breeze, but I live in Point Breeze.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so my father, he was very active in the community. He ran the basketball leagues that everybody played in. Good kids who were misguided at the time, who, are down there as adults, leading other children these days, like following in his footsteps. And I was the youngest of 4 older, I have 4 older brothers, so I was the youngest of 5. My mom was a nurse. She just retired last year, the year before. And, that's where I'm born. So I met my wife down there when I was 16, 17, driving down Point Breeze, 22nd Street. And we've now... Exactly. She had a small pizza. I asked for a piece. and now we're going on 20 years in November.
Right.
Yeah, of that union, I got 3 sons there, 13, 14, and 19. So... that's me in a nutshell. I mean, they are what I am.
So now you're building the legacy.
I guess. I'm trying to get them out the house. My joke is that the youngest one, I'm coming to his high school graduation in a full U-Haul truck. So I don't know.
Hurry up. I got like 2 hours left on this truck.
And I'm giving nobody the address.
And I ain't paid the insurance on that either.
So, I do some things in the arts to stay sane, act, write, direct. I kind of go through these cycles and which one of those has the strongest pull on me from time to time. And I'm full time. I work full time as well, corporate America in the healthcare industry. Been there for a while. Spent about 10 years in pharmaceutical sales, but now I'm on the pharmacy benefit management side of things as an account executive. So that's me.
Which creative hat do you prefer to wear the most?
It's weird because as soon as I feel like I like one the most, another one emerges. So, for example, we talked before we got on a little bit about the Philly Urban Theatre Festival. I was in full-fledged producer mode. You know, it's like I want to toil this soil and give some voices an opportunity. You know, so that was driving. I just struck this nerve where I feel like being a director right now. So much so that I just got hired for a directing gig that's going to start auditioning and rehearsing right after we open this. Directing Raising in the Sun out in Montgomery County Community College. So, the director pool is strong. I think the actor one probably comes to me the easiest, which isn't to say it's easy, because everything I take on, I try my best to slay myself doing it. So it's the most grueling. But that one comes to me like I think I can wake up for the most part, you know, put on a character's clothes and be in actor mode. You know, I still got to prep and go through all of it, but that one doesn't take as much projection, if you know what I mean. So the playwright one is the one that drives me the craziest. And for that reason, it's probably the one that's consistently the most fulfilling.
Oh, great.
It's the scariest one.
Yes. I led with playwriting, and it is the scariest one for me, too. And I started my company with a play that I wrote that probably no one will ever see again unless I, completely retool it. But I've had tons of ideas from there. And just the fact that our theater community is just so... like Mayor Nutter used to say, it's just a vibrant community. All of that inspires me and gives me so many ideas. I'm quite often sitting in the theater with ideas.
Oh,
I'm like, I can't pull out my phone and write that note now. I'm just like trying to remember some sort of rhythm about it I can get to it later.
Absolutely.
But so was there a formal training for those hats?
Yes and no. Going into a classroom and being trained from that perspective, very minimal. I had 2 semesters of acting up Lincoln University, where I graduated with a bachelor's degree. And then shortly after I had gotten out and gotten married, my wife, her mother, bought us tickets to see Black Nativity at Freedom, and I went. I was like, oh my God, all this energy. And, I'm looking at Johnny Hobbs killing it, and I'm like, I just want to go there, and I want to start working there. So I showed up, took a class, and towards the end of that class, I was already, working. I was in the rep. I was doing Sparkle the Musical, and then I did Lazarus and The Bluest Eyes. So I did all of those productions with Walter Dallas, who's the epitome of theater education. So when I say not formally trained, from sitting in a classroom taking notes.
But you were trained right.
I watched him. I soaked from him. And he saw something in me. He would bounce questions off of me and allow me to help clean up something that wasn't, of all people, to have something that wasn't flowing right. To have Walter come to you. I sat up all night trying to figure out how we're going to make this transition. I said, why don't I just ask Cash? And, so I was always on because Walter might ask me what to do. So I kind of learned like that. I watched his playwriting process, and I did a lot of playwriting when I was a member of Sharon Baptist Church Drama Ministry, and I learned on my feet, and I'm always in the theater, and just like you just alluded to, when I'm there, I'm soaking, I'm stupid. So
I'm like, what's hanging?
Yeah.
What's going on backstage? What are they doing here?
Yeah,
see
man.
How smooth this plays out. Okay.
That's the best way, you know? Like right now, everybody's doing all this with projection. If you're not going to shows, you won't even know that's all the rage, and picking up different tips and getting inspired on how people are using that. Like even if you went to school for this for 8-10 years, you have to further that education by seeing folks. So
did GoKash OnSTAGE, did it just make sense as a way to encompass everything that you wanted to do creatively?
It did. I probably gave about 10 years to the Sharon Baptist Church Drama Ministry. And then it just so happens that when I was in Freedom, I was doing something for one of the ministries, the singles ministry. They wanted a play, and they came to me. It wasn't the drama ministry, it was Cash. So I pulled all my friends from Freedom who was in my class, and I'm like, I like this. This is like a professional thing. So I'm like, okay. A good friend, Fred Thomas and Donald Welch, they were working on a play, and I was booked at Freedom, but he said, hey, can you help me with the stagehand? Yeah, let me do it. So when I was there, I'm like, oh, they're producing this nice small theater. It's probably not that expensive. I want to try this.
I could do this.
So the last one I did at Sharon for that singles ministry, I put it up. It was at, where did we do it first? Because I know they were at the Shubin, then they were at Theater Double. It was small. Michael Lalande, may rest in peace, used to lead it. So I rented from Michael Lalande, my first rental. I was on 16th and Walnut back then.
Okay.
And it worked. I was like, I like this.
Yeah.
So then I wrote my first play, Painted Bride, Adrian, boo, 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 boo.
Great.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that's kind of a similar path for me too. Like I didn't have a formal theater education, but I was in and around theater all the time.
Okay.
And when I got here, I just said, you know, we produced all through high school. I was stage manager. I was on the production team. And I was like, you know, what is it? Book a venue, tell everybody you're doing it, get the people.
That's it.
Bring the people together, you can make it happen. And then when I look back and I was like, if I open and close that, I think I've done my part. You know, now it's just fine tuning. If I want to get more people in here, what do I have to do? If I want to get some support behind this, what do I have to do?
Exactly.
And all that. So you're just learning as you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So talk about this coveted residency, because this doesn't happen very often.
No.
And to be attached to such a celebrated and appreciated name as Arden Theatre Company.
Yeah.
How did this come about?
It's interesting because when I first started renting theater spaces, you know, I was still learning what that landscape was locally. And I remember I was like, wait a minute, what's that theater down, and this is 2008, what's that theater down in Old City? That's right, Arden. Let me look them up. And I'm looking at the rates like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll never be able to be in there.
You're
and,
like,
you know, and then I saw that they were always producing. I'm like, okay, it's not that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh. So time passed. You know, I'm fortunate to work here a few times as an actor. So I got to know Terry. And it's an instant trust relationship kind of thing. I mean, what an amazing person. So, and then through him, I got to know Amy, just from being here. So to get to know Amy and Terry, and we click, you know, and it's fantastic. And I had been approached for different almost residencies before throughout the years. Probably not the same exact type of arrangement, but it just never was a slam dunk. You know, I step back and figure out, like, all right, you know, is that going to feel right? Am I going to feel stressed? Am I going to wish I never did it because I like to have a certain amount of autonomy? You know, But this one, I'd put up my last play, 5 to 10, prison-based script, and Terry came out, and I think. Well, I know, because he's told me about 10 times, that he was just very impressed, very moved with the energy in the building, the operation, you know, my wife and our team work, and the script and the cast and the production. He just was drawn by it. And, you know, he just said, let's talk, let's figure out what it is that we can do to work together. And much like you experienced today, schedules get a little crazy. And it probably took us 6 months to finally just meet. Yeah. You know, because I'm text phone guy because I knew my life is so crazy. But this needed to be in person. So we finally got a chance. He would cancel, I was canceled, he would cancel. We finally got together. We came up with this concept. And it may have taken 3 to 6 months to dot the I's, to cross the T's. But it was like... yeah, you know, we would like to help support you. Years ago when we first started, 30 years ago, Walnut Street Theater did it for us. And he said they did it with one other company, 1812 Productions. It was just a support that they would like to offer me. And they also wanted me here with my unique brand of what it is that I had to offer.
That's great.
And it's just, I mean, it's more than I could even imagine. You know what I mean?
Arden has given voice to African American culture over the years.
Absolutely.
And, it's, you know, when you look inside, you're sometimes thinking like, well, sometimes there's always this question of who should be delivering such art. I never felt that way here.
No.
Everything was
because the spirit of it runs through.
Yes.
You know, like it bleeds through the right spirit. You can come in. The right spirit comes through, and that's all that matters. You know, it doesn't matter who's delivering the message. What matters is the spirit, the pulse that's within it. You know what I mean? And that's right here.
Yeah.
They're everything that they do is with a spirit of excellence and love, and you feel it. You know.
And I have to say it on the microphone, Terry. I know I've said this many times. I am coming.
Yeah, you have to, man.
You said over the years I would love to do it, and then I run away like Terry said yes. Well, I'm coming. I just assume you're busy. Then it makes me nervous, and that's what I do.
Yeah, we had a little contest about who worked the hardest, and I had taken a break from producing, and I think Terry's outworking me dramatically, so I got to get my weight up.
Well, he does have the years of
Absolutely.
longevity and this wonderful, two wonderful spaces now.
Yeah, incredible operation, man. And that husband and wife team, that dynamic, and the folks that they have with them. Everybody, man. Yeah. Everybody I've encountered here is just incredible. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So the first production in this residency is 74 seconds to judgment.
Absolutely.
And so tell us about that.
What is it? So I like to approach when I'm going to write with one question, two questions, three questions. We've all seen, heard, we're very aware of the stuff that's in the news.
Yeah.
And there's a tendency to get desensitized. And for whatever reason, when I watched that live of Philando Castile last year, all of them matter.
Yeah.
All of them matter. That one just sat with me, you know, and it stayed on me. And I usually have scripts cooking in my head for a few years, and then I have to wait until I get like a date on the calendar and my back is up against the wall, and then I actually spit them out.
Yeah.
But they've been germinating.
Deadline focuses the light.
Exactly. So when that happened, it kind of tied a lot of thoughts and emotions and feelings and gave breath to all of these things that had been accumulating. And it's like, I want to speak to it. But if I speak to it, I want it to be something that generates additional dialogue. The easiest thing for me to do would be to say, okay, how can I express my rage in 140 characters on a tweet? All right, now how can I balloon that out to 2 hours worth of my rage? Everybody already knows my rage. So I think that would be self-serving.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm self-serving as an artist, I'm being something much less than an artist. And that does not mean that my rage is not important. It does not mean that my voice is not important. It means that I ought not abuse this forum by forcing that on people.
Yeah.
It means that I should get myself a weekly radio show where I tell everybody how I feel, or I should blog. But for me to occupy this space which I feel like is a hallowed and a privileged space, I think I have a responsibility to use. There are certain traits that I've inherited. I'm 100% street, and then I'm accepted in the most corporate of boardrooms, and then I'm accepted as an artist.
Yeah.
I'm a big black man with a deep voice, most of the time a full beard, and white people are not intimidated by me.
And they put you on camera.
And I can go around the hardest of hard black people, and I'm not intimidated by them, and they accept me. So I have a responsibility to try to speak in a manner that is relatable to the various people that I've been positioned to have an impact and a comfortable interaction with, and to see if I can facilitate discussion between them. That's what 74 seconds is, because there were two questions. I wanted to know, what is it that two strangers can carry with them to a 74-second encounter, and one of them ends up dead? It's nothing in that encounter that decided that. It's whatever they brought with them that decided that. And then the second time I weeped about him, I wanted to know how could the whole world watch what happened.
Yeah.
And then it's not guilty. And I wanted to ask those questions, and that's what this play does.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely know the feeling. I feel like the next day, it was either the next day or the day after that, I take the same walk to work, and somebody had tagged a wall. It had Trayvon's name, it had Philando's name on it, and it said, apparently none of us matter. And I was just like, whoa. And I almost wanted to capture it, but I was just like, you know what? They're going to paint over that.
Of course.
But I'm going to have that. I'm going to have that because not everybody got to pass that, and I had to think about it. And when you saw that, you're just like, this fool's got a bulletproof vest on. What was his concern here? Absolutely. You know, but there's so many unanswered questions there, and then we were so detached from it because we're only seeing what the news has cleaned up to give us. And even with what the news has cleaned up to give us, this is a slam dunk for most people.
That's what you think.
Yes.
So what this play does is ask, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
And why isn't it?
Because how everyone's approaching this is going to be different.
Absolutely.
And interesting. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what 74
that's
seconds
what it's all about.
Tells.
That's what it's all about.
So how long did it take you to get this out of your head and onto the page?
It depends on what you mean by that. Like I procrastinate and beat myself up and agonize for weeks. I probably spend the equivalent of about 48 hours typing. So, and then, somebody asks me a question, I may go back and rewrite the whole play. So it's hard to quantify it.
Yeah. But even if you do that, you already have this foundation from writing already. Now it's easier to go fine-tune that and simplify it. And I guess it's the equivalent of
the rhythm.
You just told me this story, but now you're going to go somewhere else and tell somebody, I was just talking to Darnell about the thing. Right. And clean it up in a way. So what do you hope an audience will take away from the experience of this production? That
the only way to get to know another person's perspective, which I think is the most important perspective on the planet, is to take the time to get to know their perspective. If you make any decision, every decision, you have people. Let's look at it like this. So Tamir Rice, right? Police pulled up. The caller said, I think it's a toy gun.
Yeah.
Police pulled up in 3 seconds, 2 seconds. They got out.
12 seconds altogether.
12 altogether. Philando was 74 from signaling to the murder. So we're talking a minute. We're talking less than a minute. If I'm at work, I watch people stare at the vending machine for 2 or 3 minutes before they decide if they want chips or pretzels. So what good is it to not take any degree of input before making a decision on life or death if you got to put that much input on whether you want a Snickers or a Hershey bar? So what I want people to do is to take the time to consider who the other person is, because that's what's missing. That's the only thing that's missing in everything. And black on black crime, and police murders, in quick snap biased judgments, in the people who write laws, and the people who carry forth the law. The thing that's missing in any decision, fat shaming, LGBTQ shaming, social media bullying, in every single medium where there's a lack of empathy and consideration and love, there's that break that says, I'm not considering what that person thinks. Everybody who's running around joking about Usher and this lady and herpes, nobody is saying, how does that person think? How does that person think? Everybody's saying, this is going to make me seem funny and clever to my friends. That's what I hope to facilitate in anything that I present.
All right. Well, so how do we get in the room where it happens?
In the theater space?
Yeah. How do we find out? How do we participate in this? How do we How do we come see this?
Absolutely.
Tickets?
Everything.
How do we support GoKash on Stage?
www.GoKashOnStage.com. That's the hub. You can kind of find anything there.
Yeah.
But like I said, on Facebook, I have 3 pages. I got my own, which could be random or could be important. I have Kash Goins of GoKash on Stage, which kind of keeps the dialogue going specifically about this stuff. And I have GoKash Productions group page, GoKash on Stage group page. So.
Okay.
Any venue, I try to find ways to be easy to reach because I belong to a demographic that you don't want to make work too hard to find out how to spend money.
Yes. All right. So the production is 74 Seconds to Judgment.
Yep.
It is GoKash OnStage production.
GoKashOnStage.com.
GoKashOnStage.com.
Yep.
Here in residency at the Arden Theatre.
Absolutely.
And it'll be on Arcadia stage
From September 6th to the 24th.
24th.
Yep.
You can get tickets at GoKashOnStage.com.
Yep.
You can also get them by going to ArdenTheatre.org, and it's right there under What's Hot.
You can even walk into the box office or call their number.
There you go. All right, Kash, it was a pleasure.
Mine.
Thanks for squeezing me in before your rehearsal.
My pleasure,
it's a pleasure
my friend.
chatting with you,
Appreciate
and I
it.
want to continue conversations with you. So as more work comes out, come talk to me.
Let's do it. No,
right.
for sure. You family now.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
bro. All right.
It's a pleasure.
Want to get involved with Broad Street Review? Head on over to our website at www.broadstreetreview.com and click Get Involved at the top. While you're there, help keep us running and click Contribute to find out how. Connect with us on social media on Facebook and Twitter at Broad Street Review. Thank you for helping to keep the conversation going.